Okay, guys, KJ here. So I got an order in for my honeybee runes, and they want the witch rune set. So I thought I'd show you how I make them. So this is what we're making, and that's one of the symbols for the witch rune set. Okay, let's go make some magic. Okay, so first I've already gotten a bunch done, a whole bunch. This is what they look like when they come out of the mold. But I thought that maybe I'd show you from beginning to end. So this is the mold, and we're going to dust it with a little bit of gold mica. And I don't know, I've had these forever because it just takes such a little bit that I don't even know. I probably got it on Amazon, but I don't know the company name or anything like that. Yeah. So, oops, there's a hair on it. So yeah, so a lot of people like to use like the spongy swabs, and when you're doing something that's got this itty bitty detail and you've got to reach into legs and the eyes, and it's just easier to use a brush. So that's all there is to that. So you can't, I mean, you could probably get in there with one of the little micro brushes, but like this set only has 13 symbols, and I always throw a blank in with it so that they've got an extra. But when you're looking at the bigger sets like the Elder Futhark or even the Younger Futhark or the generic, I mean, well, the Elder Futhark is because I give the free ones. There's 26, 27 to the set, so you're doing 26 of these little suckers. Yeah, you want to get as much covered as you can, but that's all there is to that. Okay, and then this is what they look like after the resin's been poured and they dry, and then all that mica just comes right out. So then there's that, and then you got all the little extra stuff that we're just going to kind of trim off and clean up. Almost everything you pour with resin, you're cleaning up edges. So it's not like, I pour stuff and box it up and send it out. That's just not the reality of it. So, yeah, you pour it and you kind of clean it up a little bit. So, I don't clean this stuff up out of here because I think it helps hold the legs better. But there we go. So the next step is we want to get some black into the details so we can see it. So, and I love the Arteza acrylic markers. I just freaking love them. So I have the black and the white. Like I buy them at 12 count at a time because I go through so many. So there we go. All right. Now for the wings, it's like really tiny little hairs, and just go over it because we're going to wipe it clean, and I'll show you in a minute because I have some that I did ahead of time that are dry. So you just want to make sure that you're getting the lines filled in. And you could use just some acrylic paint and a brush and brush over it and then wipe it. I don't know. I just really I like these, and I guess I'm a creature of habit. It's what I started doing, and in my mind it's less paint waste, and yeah. You don't have to have them perfect, and it doesn't matter if it kind of slops over. And then we're going to put little eyeballs on them. And color in his legs a little bit. There we go. Right. And we'll just slide him out of the way and let him dry. So here's one that I have that's dry. So I'm just going to take a little rag and clean up the wings. So I tore off a piece of paper towel. You want, because the indentures are not that deep, you don't want a thick fuzzy rag because the nap will get into the little fine lines and wipe it all out, and you don't want that. So you want something that's fairly flat, and then just wipe it across the top gently, and it cleans it right up. So, and if you get too much, you can always go back over it. But there you go. So now what we're going to do is, I do use Fun Tack for this. I'll stick it on there. We want to try and get it as level as possible, because we're going to paint the top with UV resin. Alright. So this is my little paint pot. And when I have leftover UV resin in the bottles, and there's always that little bit at the bottom that is just a pain in the butt. So I turn it upside down and I drain it off into my little pot, and I keep it covered up and it stays good. So I got a little bit of glitter in there because I like the sparkle. Now, who doesn't like the sparkle? And we're just going to paint it on. I have my little, I've been using this same brush for a couple of years, and when I'm all done, I clean it up with a little 91% isopropyl alcohol, and it's always good to go and ready for next time. So, yeah. There's a lot of things that I prefer to just use like a toothpick or something like that, but for the top of these, I like using the brush. And then the UV resin will cure over the top and make sure that all the paint is sealed in, and it'll keep it protected so my customers don't have to worry about the black scratching off, you know. There we go. Now we're just going to pop it in and cure it. And then my little tray, my little paper bowl that I use for a tray, we'll pop it in, and it's in there curing. And we'll give it about 90 seconds, and then I'll pull it out, check on it, and put it back in. So I give them about 2 to 3 minutes. And then while we're waiting, we can just go back down and clean the next one off. So see where I pushed real hard? Oh. So I pushed a little too hard right here, and I wiped out some of the black. So that's what you got to be careful with. All right. I think it looks fine. I'm not going to worry about it. I don't know. Think we should fill it back in. There we go. No, I get quiet because I start thinking. Yeah, so here we go. I don't know. We still feel maybe another 90 seconds. See how pretty and shiny it is? It does. It just makes all the difference. You can't really see the glittery sparkle I have in it because it's super fine. So it's just every now and again you'll see a little color flash, but I am going to put this. No, it's fine. Okay. All right. So what we're going to do next is we're going to, because I poured these a while ago, they're fully cured. So we're going to give it a little, we're going to scratch up the back a little bit. This is 600 grit sandpaper. So, my goodness. Get my napkin and clean it up. But we need to scratch and dull the surface so that the resin will stick. Okay. Now here's all my little stickers that I'm going to put on the back. I made these with my Cricut. So I designed them and then I print them out and cut them out. Let's see. And sometimes they just, my goodness. So yeah, so I ended up getting COVID at the beginning of the month and it has left me with a bit of a cough. Sorry about that. Okay, so we're just going to center it as best as possible. Okay, now the paper that I used to print this is to save money so I could keep my runes cheaper. This is mailing label paper. So the mailing label stickers that you print out, and there's two of them on a sheet on an eight what was it 8.5 by 11. So yeah, so I just use that, and then we're gonna slightly. If you're going to do something like this only on a bigger project, you're going to want to, you can use the same paper to save money, absolutely no problem. But you're going to want to either laminate it or um, spray it with some acrylic sealer and give it a good 2 or 3 coats. And then, and then you can do your print and cut and print it out and cut it out. Yeah, you don't want to just try and pour resin. Pardon me. You don't want to just try and pour resin directly over your paper because this ink will bleed out and ruin your piece. So you got to make sure that not only you're spraying the top, but the edges as well are sealed, because if not, then your epoxy resin will absorb into the edge of the paper and cause the ink to bleed, whether you have sprayed a sealer on the top or not. Because if you spray your paper down, and the same with laminating, say you laminate the whole top, and then you put it in your Cricut or your Silhouette, whichever you're using, whichever machine, and you cut your design out, them edges doesn't have a sealer on it, it hasn't been laminated, those edges are raw and paper will absorb, so it's going to draw that resin in, and so you got to not only seal it, before you cut it, but you need to seal it after as well. So I I haven't sealed it at all for this. So what I'm actually sealing it with is a fine coat of resin, the UV resin, and you want to do just a fine coat, and then dry it and cure it. So it's going to cure before it has time to soak in and cause your inks to bleed. So, and you want to make sure you do it like this, and then you can go over the top, like if you're doming, you can go over the top and dome after you've done this step, and everything will be fine. But if you just try and blob on a lot and give it a dome without sealing that first, what you're going to get is tons of little micro bubbles that's going to come up through as it's curing in the UV light. So I probably have some scrap pieces around here somewhere that I can show you what I mean, but yeah, it makes a mess. And it's not just with the paper. Even if you're going to use vinyl sticker paper, um, if you're using the printable vinyl and you do it, you still got to do a thin coat and seal that ink. So yeah, you just got to put it in there for a minute and seal it. It's still really tacky, but now you can put the dome coat on the bottom. Dome coat, flood coat, flow coat. I mean, there's so many different names. I think it really depends on where you're at, but um, I don't. And I guess it's probably, it's just a flood coat over the top because I don't want it real domey. I want it to lay fairly flat. So there we go. So we'll put it in there and cure it for 90, and that's all there is to that. So I'm going to continue on and get the rest of this done, and I'll show you the set when I'm finished, okay? Back in a bit. Okay, let me see if I can get this so that it shows up. So, as excuse the black all over my hands, I don't know if the camera will even pick it up because it's so stinking little. It's not focusing in. Okay, so I tried to paint the eyeballs, like, see the little eyeballs on that one? And what I have instead of eyeballs here is 2 air holes. I had little air bubbles. So I'm going to show you how to fix those really easy. So I have UV resin. This is one of those needle tip bottles. It's just a fine needle tip, and I've wrapped it in tape to keep it as dark as possible, and then I store it in a medicine bottle that I've wrapped in tape. So I just keep it stored in there when I'm not using it. So we're just going to see if it'll show it. Do 2 little bloops for eyeballs. There we go. Let's see if it put a little bloop at the end of that. I think one of his little legs had an air bubble too. It happens. They're so little. So I'm gonna use my little pen light to harden it quick because I don't want it to roll off. Let's see. Let's see if we can paint it now. And now we have eyeballs and a leg. Here we go. I just wanted to show you the quick fix, and pretty easy. So I use the that UV resin in my little needle tip bottle to fix air bubbles all day long. And something like this, it's not really going to matter if you sand out the hole because it's so tiny. And I'm going to go over the entire top with UV resin anyway, so it'll seal it in. You want to make sure you keep your needle tip bottle out of sunlight, and I just keep it stored in a medicine bottle, and that's it. So I just thought I'd pop on quick and show you that. So I've gotten all of these. I'm working on getting them all cured up now, and I'll be back when I get them done, and I'll show you the whole set. So back in a bit. So I'm back, and there's my dog. Bark, bark, bark. This is the barkiest dog I've ever had. So let's see. See if I can't get a picture in. So here's the whole set done, and they come in this little bag here, my little Velcro bag, or velvet, fake velvet. So yeah, here they all are. Come out really cute. So, and the UV resin, it just makes a world of difference. See the sparkle? You and that I absolutely love this glitter. I'm wondering if I should pull it out so you guys can see what I used. I think I will. I think this came from Alumilite, but I ordered it on Amazon. But Diamond Dust Metallic. And when it hits the resin, it kind of disappears. You really don't see. Here, let me show you. You really don't see glitter. What you see is sparkle. And I think that's why I like it. So there it is on my finger. See, you don't really see glitter. You just see sparkle. So that's what I got going on in there. And then in the bottom of my pot, there was some, and I don't even, the bag broke on this long ago, so I just have it in this jar. So, oh, and hey, y'all, here's a little helpful hint. You know, all those little things that you get in pill bottles, and keep them in your glitter. Keeps it from getting chunky. Keeps it dry. So there's a little bit of that in the bottom of the jar too. So, but like I said, it's also fine that it disappears. So the only thing you're really seeing is that little bit. You know, you see a little color sparkle from here to here when you move it around in the light, but not enough to make it gaudy. So there she bees. So I hope this helped somebody, or you. I don't know. I'm so new at it, so I have got to get better. Every time I make one of these, it's got to be getting a little better and a little better. So anyhow, give me a thumbs up, help me out, hit subscribe, and I'll bring something new tomorrow. And yeah, I think I've got a mold that if you just pour straight, you get tons and tons of air bubbles. So I'm going to show you how to get rid of that. So, all right, I'll, I'll see you guys tomorrow, and hit that thumbs up for me, would you? Thanks, guys.